Please join me in saying, life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. These are the words of A. Powell Davies. He writes, "The world we know is passing, all things grow strange, all but the stout heart's courage, all but the undiminished luster of an ancient dream, which we shall dream again as people have dreamed before us, pilgrims forever in a world forever new. And what we loved and lost, we lose to find how great a thing is loving. For us there is no haven or refuge. For us there is wilderness, wild and trackless, where we shall build a road and sing a song. But after us there is a promised land, strong from sorrows and shining from our joys, our gift to those who follow us along the road we build, singing our song." Davies wrote these words a long time ago, and they are so true for us today. The world we know is passing, all things grow strange. This is a complicated new day. As we face an unknown future, as he says, for us there is wildness, wild and trackless. We don't know how this moment will unfold. We don't yet know what we are facing, whether this will be weeks or months, how close it will come to people we love. There is just so much unknown, and that is hard. I am so grateful to be facing this with you all. I'm so grateful for our hardworking staff team and our wonderful board and all of our leaders. So many of you have been so creative and generous with your time and expertise. We are in good hands here at First Church. Over and over, I've been in meetings with staff and leadership and been overwhelmed with gratitude that I am here with you all, facing these difficult days shoulder to shoulder with this team of people. And still, this is hard on so many levels. And so, as I mentioned in my message earlier this week, I have been thinking about what helps get us through hard times. And again, this is in part my invitation to you all to reflect on a hard time that you experienced, something which really stretched you, and ask yourself, what helped you get through that hard time? Feel free to reach out to me with stories, any of the staff. If you're open, we'll be finding ways to share these stories with one another, part of how we will get through this as a community. For some of the most difficult times that I have faced have been woven with some of the sweetest. My beloved wife, Lauren, every one of her pregnancies, all three, she had this thing called hyperemesis gravidarum. This is debilitating nausea, just soul-crushing sickness for almost the entire pregnancy, every time. We were working together then, and so she went on medical leave, and I just expanded my work portfolio. When she was pregnant with Aaliyah, Ben and Jack were 5 and 7, so they needed to be taken care of as well. And on top of all of that, it was so hard to watch her suffer so extremely. This was a difficult many, many months. And when I think about what helped me through, the biggest thing that helped was that we were held in love. There was this wide embrace of our community who was there to help in so many ways. Eager and loving grandparents who showed up to play with kids and bring crafts and games when I was wrung out and had little left to give. And in addition, the church was there with food, so much food, Ask me sometime about the lasagna, homemade noodles, and a special secret Sicilian family sauce. To this day, one of the most delicious things that I have ever eaten. And this is on my mind and heart in this moment because this is a large part of how we are going to get through this moment. We are held. We are loved. There is a circle of witness and a circle of support holding you and every other person who is part of First Church. We will show up for one another. We will hold one another in love. We will feed one another. We will cherish one another. This is one of my favorite parts of church. When we gather in person, there's this moment when we reach out and take one another's hands. And almost always I say, we give thanks for these hands we are now holding and for this abundant love holding us all. For a while, we're not holding those hands, but know that same love, that same abundant love is holding us all right where you are right now. That love is holding you. And that's one of my favorite parts about what A. Powell Davies says. When he says, in what we loved and lost, we lose to find how great a thing is loving. In this difficult moment, in this challenging time, I know even more deeply, I can feel even more clearly how beautiful this thing we are creating is. How precious this gift of First Church is. It is a joy to get to do this with you. And that's the last thing I remember being so helpful in making it through those soul-stretching weeks and months of Lauren's sickness was joy. I paid attention to moments of joy. I took them like medicine, investing them with my whole self. This is You Know How We Survived by Kenny Wiley from Nights Can Be Tough. He writes, Maya Angelou turned 40 on April 4th, 1968. She had planned a big party in Harlem with many of the day's black intellectual elite among the guests. History had other ideas. Dr. King's assassination sent Angelou into weeks-long depression. It was fellow writer James Baldwin who helped her dig out of it. Angelou recalls Baldwin's assistance in her book, A Song Flung Up to Heaven, where she writes that laughter and ancestral guidance got her through. There was very little serious conversation, she says. The times were so solemn and the daily news so somber that we snatched mirth from unlikely places and gave servings of it to one another with both hands. I told Jimmy it was good to laugh. Jimmy said, we survived slavery. You know how we survived? We put surviving into our poems and into our songs. We put it into our folk tales. We danced surviving in Congo Square in New Orleans, and we put it in our pots when we cooked pinto beans. We knew if we wanted to survive, we had better lift our own spirits, so we laughed whenever we got the chance. And so, dear First Church, we will survive this. We will put our surviving into Zoom meetings. We will put it into our videos. We will put surviving into our neighborhood clusters, into so many moments of tenderness and care. We will put surviving into our emails and texts and calls. We will survive and we will thrive. I am here. Your staff is here. Your leadership is here. Your community is here. And so again, this is my first invitation to you all. Think about a hard time that you made it through. What helped? What insights might this have for you, for all of us, for these days ahead? Share these stories with me, with the staff, with your friends, with folks you know. Know that you are held. Know that you are loved. Know that we will get through this together. In this wilderness, wild and trackless, we will build a road and sing a song. I'll leave you with one simple image and a new favorite poem. The simple image is that yesterday I was in the supermarket shopping for every eventuality, and for 5 people especially, 3 of us growing at an alarming rate. And as I was checking out, in the checkout line next to me, one older gentleman, looking tired and a little frazzled, had just finished checking out when the teller realized that she had missed 2 large cartons of soup. She called him back and he was clearly flummoxed, not sure how to proceed, and the gentleman behind him said, "Don't worry, just add it to my bill." They smiled at one another. The stressed out man's shoulders eased, and he smiled. The other man smiled back. "Good luck," he said. It was a precious moment, a simple, precious moment. But this is how it's done. May we create for one another and for this sweet and hurting world moments like this, moments of sweetness and joy, moments of remembering love and connection and hope. This is how we build a road in the wilderness, guided by this same abundant love holding us now and always. This is a poem by my colleague Lynn Ungar. Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling, give up just for now on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your word. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we shall live. Amen.
This piece is Elegy for the Victims of a Tsunami and Earthquake by Nobuyuki Tsujii. Nobuyuki Tsujii is a Japanese pianist and composer who tied for the gold medal at the Van Cliburn International Piano Competition in 2009. This is in and of itself an incredible feat, but all the more so because Tsujii was born blind. This is a story of overcoming incredible obstacles and learning to work with a disability most people would consider makes a career as a pianist impossible. This piece was written in response to the terrible earthquake and tsunami that devastated Japan in 2011. To me, the piece reflects both the sadness and tragedy associated with a natural disaster or event like we are facing now, as well as the hope and the resilience with which we can face it.